It's 2023, all. To the lady listeners, fellow listeners, all listeners. I hope you had a lovely New Year and Christmas. I'm here with my good old pals, Christopher Robbins. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing well, Darren. How are you?
I'm good. You have a nice news. You went back to Canada. You went home.
I did. I just got back. I'm still... Well, I can't even really say jet-lagged at this point, but my sleep schedule is backwards. But it was a good trip.
Is it so backwards you can't play video games?
Of course not.
Good. That's the most important thing. And what have you been playing? Anything? Did you get a chance to play anything over Christmas or New Year's?
Over Christmas and New Year's, just a lot of couch party games with my friends, some speed runners, Runbow, bit of Smash here and there, Dead by Daylight actually, because my friend has it on his Xbox and his computer, so it's got cross-platform. That was great. Other than that, lately, still playing a bit of Multiverses here and there, just for shits and giggles, and then me and my buddies jump back into Valheim to do the deep dive into the new latest update.
Valheim was such a hilarious one because I started off in Valheim and I'm not a PC gamer and I tried to get that running on my laptop and it ran like shit. And Valheim isn't a good looking game either. No.
But there's a charm
There is. It's a kind of it's like when Minecraft has its own kind of art style to it. But I put that game onto like 0 settings for everything. I couldn't see anything in front of me.
Oh no.
It was so slow. And I remember you were just begging me like, no, keep playing Valheim. We'll build a base together. And I was like, dude, this is the most painful thing ever to play on a shitty little laptop. So yeah, good update, new update, worth it?
We haven't even made it to the new content because we started out on a new server and not fresh characters, but like dropped all your equipment and just started from scratch, going through the progression again. So
nice.
Yeah, it's good. There's like 4 of us, I think. I have like a dedicated server, so
good. So we had a nice time and looking like a nice bright future for you and your Valheim buddies.
Yes,
nice.
Exactly.
And today I'm also joined with my good friend Craig, the Critical Nolan. Craig, how are you?
I'm good, Darren. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. My pleasure. Thank you for appearing on the show in 2023. I appreciate it. You guys are on the first episode of the new year. Exciting stuff, you know. First of many, I hope, unless we get cancelled for something, which could very well happen. I hope not. So Craig, did you get a chance to have a good Christmas, good New Year's?
Yeah, really good. In terms of games, I was playing a lot of Hades, and it pains me to say it, but I love it.
Yes. Because
I'm so proud of you.
We had such a funny conversation because you started playing Hades, and I came into your house to play Smash Brothers as we do on a regular basis, and there you were playing Hades, and I was like, oh man, you liking Hades? And you're like, no, I hate it.
I wasn't at all. I did the first run. I got about 20 minutes in, and there was just so many monsters on the screen firing so many projectiles that I was just like, of course I have to die, but it's not my lack of skill, it's that there's just shit everywhere. Like, you know, like what are you supposed to do with this, you know?
No, my favorite was when you threw a fit about like not being able to keep any of the boons. You're just like, what do you mean? I take this now and then it's gone after this run? That's bullshit.
I was like, welcome to the world of roguelikes.
It's just, I hate padding in video games, and there's so much padding, but there's the amount of customization is
the replay.
So it really brings you
it brought you around. You've come full circle. You're a Hades fan.
I am a Hades fan. Like, I gave it enough time, but after that initial hour, if I hadn't have been so bored and I had no other games to play, or if I had any other game to play, I would have dropped it instantly.
Okay.
But I persevered, I pushed through, and it was well worth it.
Good. And so do you understand the hype now surrounding Hades 2 with that announcement?
Yeah, I would be on board. I'd definitely be looking forward to a Hades 2.
Because it was funny, because you know, we had that initial conversation. I came down to yours, and I think we had a bit of a get together then of mine, like a week or two later, and you were still critiquing it quite heavily. You were quite critical of it. Like, it's in the name.
But like, I wanted to hate it because like everyone around me loves it, and I don't like seeing that much happiness when when I don't feel it, you know. So I'm just like, no, I'm taking them down, you know. So
well, that's good. I'm glad you come around. So do you guys have any? It's 2023, brand new year, first week of January. Do you guys have any New Year's resolutions?
Beat you in Tekken.
Oh, okay. Oh, good luck. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. Never going to happen. I'm looking forward to it. Craig, what about you?
Continue beating everyone in Smash.
Oh yeah. That's quite
That'll
possible.
do.
Yeah. Well, I guess, you know, it being resolutions, and we're all looking to evolve. This is my segue, by the way. We're looking to evolve as people. It brings us to today's episode, the evolution of Pokemon. I've been working on that segue the entire Christmas holiday.
I would never have noticed. You didn't drop a beat.
So we were kind of... I put it out to you guys and Luke and a few others that we hope to have on the podcast about kind of episodes that you'd like to do. And Craig, you brought up the evolution of Pokemon as a series and where it's might be going. And what was interesting about that when you said that to me, I was only listening to a podcast that I'm a big fan of, the Kind of Funny Games podcast, and they were talking about the Pokemon TV series. Here's an interesting tidbit to kind of get us going on the evolution of Pokemon and how far it's come along. They finished the series, like the Ash Ketchum Pikachu original.
Heard that. Yeah.
They finished the series, and what's great about that is that I don't know, I can't remember what age I was when I first started listening to Pokemon, but I was young, you know, Pokemon cards and everything like that, and you know, the original opening theme to Pokemon, the TV show, and Ash and Pikachu finished it as being the very best, like no one ever was.
I know, but if he had continued for one more season, he would have met the new professor.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have gotten a new starter because he always has to keep Pikachu because that's the rule.
Yeah.
And then he would have lost the battle to one of those starter trainers, would have kicked the shit out of him, and then we'd be back to square one.
But that's what I like that they've done, because they have a new series coming out, a new region. I haven't looked too much into that kind of stuff, but it looks as though it's new characters, new whatever. So Ash is going to be this person who just is the very best, like no one ever was. And I can't, as a young Darren, I'm like, wow, he actually did it. It might have taken him 20 years, but the kid actually did it, you know?
Well, the games did that in the very first sequel they made, Red, the champion.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. So they're just doing something that the games did 20 years ago.
Yeah, but we get to see it in animated form, and like, you know,
did we get to see it? I'm not going to see it.
No, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it because I think I'm too far past that kind of watching the animated TV show. But I thought that was a cool timing piece that you were like, hey, let's talk about the evolution of Pokemon. And I was like, wow, we got the Ash Ketchum arc is completed. Yeah. So I guess
finally, it's great for that to be over. I definitely think the TV series every single season should have had new protagonists.
Yeah,
starting from the start.
Yeah, and I think anything like that was, new protagonists, new Pokemon characters is going to be nice for people to get into. Fresh, you don't have to know everybody all the time, you know.
That's it.
So I guess on that, evolution of Pokemon is today's episode theme or whatever. We're looking at kind of where the games have been, where they're going to, what the current generation of the games are like. But to kind of kick us off, I thought I'd ask you guys, to date, currently, what would be your favorite Pokemon game that's out there? Chris, I'll hit you first.
Okay, so this is a tough one because obviously I feel pretty nostalgic about the original Blue and then Gold and Silver. But I think of the main series, I played the most and got the most enjoyment out of Ruby and Sapphire, oddly enough. Mm-hmm. I just really liked... I think that was the pinnacle of the graphics. I don't think they ever should have evolved past that, to be perfectly honest. But as far as my actual favorite goes, and this is a hot take, but it's Pokemon Snap.
Get out.
I know, it's crazy.
That's cheating.
And no, this is specifically because of... Not only does it have my fondest memories of a Pokemon game, it's some of my fondest memories of a game in general. Because when I was a kid, like my aunt and uncle and all my cousins would go on vacation, and then for like a week or something like that, and then me and my mom would house sit for them, and that was kind of like a vacation in itself because they had this giant house built on a hill that's great for tobogganing in the winter. It's got an in-ground pool in the summer, so we had a blast. And my mom let me invite every single one of my friends over. It didn't matter. She loved that. But one of the friends that was always there was my buddy Dave.
Shout out to Dave.
Yeah, and we used to play anything. Like, we'd pull all-nighters playing, like, demos of, like, Mr. Driller or, like, Tekken or Tony Hawk. But we got our hands on digging through my cousin's video game collection. We found Pokemon Snap.
And so just for people out there, what console generation are we talking about here?
This is N64. This is the first Pokemon Snap. So we started playing that, and we pulled it, as we do, we pulled an all-nighter doing it. And not only did we completely demolish the game, like get all the shots, all the Pokemon, we weren't done gaming yet. So we started going back. You notice you could save pictures and make albums. So we tried to make a comic book, but in order to like save the pictures, it's all sequential. Yeah. So we had to keep going through the map to get the right picture to fit the next slide. And like we were playing until like 12 in the afternoon the next day. It was amazing.
That's a nice fun way of doing it.
Like, it was great.
Creating your own fun out of a game that only lasts about 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But so a year ago, I'm back in Canada trying to get my visa stuff sorted out. And my aunt and uncle went to stay with one of my cousins for a weekend. So boom, we had the house again. And I brought Dave out and I surprised him with the new Pokemon Snap. And we just sat there and did the exact same thing. Obviously, it wasn't one night this time. It was a couple nights.
We're getting old.
But yeah, and there's just something about... I can't imagine myself ever playing the game single player. I think that would be a bit of a nightmare. But there's something about having a hype man there with you that, like, when you get that perfect shot of Machamp flexing on a beach... And you're on rails, so you can't really stop and appreciate it. But the guy beside you is like, yeah, man, what a shot. That was amazing.
So was your pecs.
Yeah, exactly. It's just great Pokemon, video game memories.
And you reckon it's more so the nostalgia of Snap is what takes the top tier for you?
It was the Pokemon experience, yeah. And especially, like I said, it wouldn't have been the same. I don't think I would have enjoyed it single player. I thought pretty much like a throwaway. But having a buddy there and competing and comparing and like cheering each other on was...
Did you complete it, the new one?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay,
good. Yeah. I didn't get all the legendaries, I don't think.
But that's it.
But nice. Yeah,
we How long is the new one? As they extended it out to a 1 hour game?
Well, it's substantially longer than that if you go back and try to get everything, because you get like new
padding, Craig.
Padding. There you go.
There's always padding.
There's the roguelike in it.
Yeah. So what about you, Craig? You have to pick your favorite Pokemon game. Where are you at?
Oh, I didn't know we could go by those rules. So I'm just going to say the Pokemon card game, huh? Can I say that type of nonsense? Yeah.
Okay. So, actually,
even if I could, that wouldn't be the answer. I'm just trying to shit over his answer, which
classic.
Well, you've already made it clear that you hate happiness, so that's exactly why you're doing this.
Pokemon Silver for me was the pinnacle of the Pokemon.
Silver
games.
Or Soul Silver?
Silver. I never actually played any of. I probably would play Soul Silver, but as a principle to myself, I never played any of the remakes. Just. I'd already bought them once and played them once, and I'm not just giving them my money again. I already do that every other year.
For all these current shitty Pokemon games
I'm like
making.
all defiant, but I still buy every single one otherwise. But no, the remakes is where I draw my line, But with Gold and Silver, I just thought, wow, you have everything that was good in the first game. And then a bunch of other things, like a whole new region, whole new Pokemon, and then the same characters from the original game, but their stories have continued into the new game. It's something that they never ever did after. You were talking about loving Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and like the first time I played those games, I remember trying to race through for when I beat the game, and then I could finally go back to Kanto or Johto. Like I just assumed I'd be able to do that, based on the other two games. And then when you couldn't, it was the biggest disappointment of my Pokemon life, And
I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but I have found since the original Pokemon, and I think it's a nostalgia thing and an age thing, but I have found that every region and collection of Pokemon since since Gold and Silver, I'd say, has taken not a nosedive. Nosedive is too strong a word, but it's definitely gone down. I don't think they've improved either the regions or the collection of Pokemon. I mean, I know it doesn't exist, but I think when I was really angry at Pokemon back in like my early 20s, and whatever generation it was, they had a Pokemon that looks like a tree, and I swear I thought that dude's name was Treemon. I was like, this has to be the laziest.
Pseudo-Wudo.
The laziest writing.
That's from Gold and Silver, like Pseudo-Wudo,
So that was
it's
the
just
beginning.
The dancing kind of tree.
That was the
thing.
beginning of the end for me. And like Gold and Silver was
there's
one I was
a lot
big fan
worse. Pseudo-Wudo is like your bottom of the barrel. There's a literal trash bag Pokemon that's just this big.
I guess you can't complain because in the original one we did have Muck, which is.
A Muck looked cool though. I mean, it was just a slime with a face, and you're like, you get it, For me, it was Jinx and Mr. Mime were the two weird ones of the original.
The artwork
Pokemon.
of those.
Mr. Mime creeped me out. Yeah.
And they've only gone and done now. Even like the main Pokemon of the new games look like human beings. You know what I mean?
There's so many humanoid Pokemon in the. Geez, what is the new game? It's not Sword and Shield. Scarlet and Violet,
And I'm okay. Eventually, you just have to go, okay, there's only so many foxes and bats we can have. There aren't enough animals to start recreating. And
but I
don't
don't need. That's where we'll probably get into this when we're talking about the evolution of the series as a whole, but I don't need a collection of 100 new Pokemon per game. They've got some great.
Either do I. But I think the majority of the people who really like these games
just collect them all,
the new ones.
Yeah. But for me, because Scarlet and Violet, you guys have played through those games. I haven't played.
Well, I haven't played through the entirety of it,
but you've. I'm assuming
I completed everything. I did all this
from like the original first 2 or 3 generations. How many Pokemon from those generations are included in this? Probably very few, I'd say, right?
No, there's actually at least half.
That's a good amount.
Yeah, 'cause
and,
they probably added maybe 100, 150 new ones to this game, and
Yeah.
the 250 kind of like an all-stars cast that they kind of
Yeah.
just
So that's-
picked and choose.
That's good to hear because that's them getting, I think, a little bit smarter about it because I think you definitely have better of the. How many is there now? Like,
Yeah.
is it close to
I
it?
think the number 1,000 is in this.
Yeah, like I
new
mean,
game.
if you're at 1,000 Pokemon, there's gonna have to be a
Yeah.
couple of hundred duds in there, do you know what I mean,
Yeah.
that we don't need to see coming back.
I mean,
But the
Sorry,
best thing they did for this game was they didn't really gate all the Pokemon behind endgame content. So if you wanted your like dream team earlier, like a Dratini or a Tyranitar on your team from the beginning, it's very possible.
It's not only possible; it's very easy. Like, I went up a mountain, I got hopped in the water, and there was literally 7 Dratinis surrounding me, and I was like, "This should never be the case." You know,
Okay,
like,
so
they've missed a beat.
So
there
you
by
think that's a
doing that.
pro in terms of being able to get your team, and you, Craig,
No,
you would consider
I
that a
love
con?
the idea of getting Pokemon early, but a rare Pokemon should still be
Rare, hard to find.
You know, like I shouldn't see a Dragonair surrounded by Dratini as a common Pokemon. You know, like it should have like it spawns maybe once a day for an hour or something, just to get that replayability up.
Yeah.
You know, I get that the one of the reasons I think they didn't do that is because the draw distance in this game is so terrible that Pokemon essentially just appear beside you at times. Like,
And
you
just
know,
so our listeners know, you're talking about Pokemon. Did you get
The-
Violet?
I got Violet, yeah.
Scarlet. And then, of course, draw
No, I
distance.
got Violet. You got Scarlet.
oh, sorry, I got Scarlet. and you
you
got
got
Violet.
Violet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have the motorbike.
Yeah, and that really bugs me. Yeah, that's my biggest. As soon as he mentioned that, okay, so the legendary Pokemon, they both look like bikes.
Yeah.
Except his one actually drives on the bike, whereas mine uses his feet and runs around despite having wheels. And I'm just like, what was the point of that?
And this is where I'm like, you know, I'll never forget, like, you know, is it Ho-Ho or was the legendary Pokemon
For gold.
for gold, right?
Yeah.
But you saw, what was the one that was flying in the sky at one of the first episodes of the Pokemon?
That was
series?
Ho-Ho.
Ho-Ho in the very first episode.
So like legendary Pokemon had this like real mystique about them in the early Pokemon days, and when I saw when they released like their first trailer for Scarlet and Violet, which was the number one reason for me not going near this game, when I saw the design of them, and I was like, this is some Zoids Digimon shit happening right here, and I want no part of it. Like at least your one looks, Chris, your one like looks like a motorbike, drives like a motorbike. It shouldn't be a motorbike. Like
Shouldn't be
I
a
just
motorbike.
like give me a Pokemon that flies, or give me like an Arcanine that runs, like something that looks majestic, not a horrible.
But at the end of the day,
shit-looking
they're only
motorbike thing.
legendaries, and like, I mean, it's reached a stage now where I never bother with the legendaries. Like, I'll never use them because they're just OP, and it just like the Pokemon games are way too easy anyway. That like you need to just use your starter and then a few other Pokemon that you find throughout the world. And this game does a great job of giving you a variety early, you know, so that at least if you were to fight a friend, chances are you will have a different top 6 as opposed to the exact same top 6.
which is smart because again, and it's a pity because, and we'll probably get into it as well, but I think there's so much potential for like an adult version or a competitive version of a Pokemon game.
Oh man,
MMO.
I have just a million ideas of how it could just be fixed.
Yeah.
Like with so little effort. Like,
Yeah,
you know?
like you and me, I'll never forget. You and me had this famous, and I only played it once because I was like, never again. Because you were like, oh, because this is when we played Sword and Shield, Craig, and you were like, no, I want to fight you, and I was nah, I'm not, because I'm not very good at this game, and you've been training them, and you've been like shining them up and whatever else. I didn't understand all that shit. You're like, let's do it, and I was like, okay, fine. And I had my very mediocre. See, I consider myself in that scenario like the Ash Ketchum, the guy who loved his Pokemon. You were the Gary. You were like, I've trained these guys to be
you
the
say
ultimate.
that, but I spent a lot of time with that 6. Like I IV and EV trained the shit out of them.
Yeah.
You know, like,
But did you love them, Craig? Did you love them
of
like I loved
course
my
not.
six?
Like they're just
There you go.
fodder.
Yeah. So when we played that Pokemon battle, it was literally, and I still even now can't think of how I won, but it was, you got a critical hit, super effective on me, and my Pokemon died. I did the same to you, and it was just tit for tat, like one hit per Pokemon.
It was
and
almost always a one-hit KO. And like I had a massive lead, and then I had 3 left, and you had 1 left, and then you one-shot all 3 of my final.
Yeah, because I, like Ash and Pikachu, I treated that Pokemon, I can't remember that Pokemon.
And I could not believe it. I was just like, what is the point of this game? Like, you know?
Yeah, so that's kind of, and that's what we're kind of talking about in this episode, is that when we think about Pokemon, there's so much potential out there. I think the 3 of us could agree on as a series. You know, the thing that I grew up with as a kid that I loved. As an adult, I think there's a huge market there that they're just not hitting. And I know, like, commercially, you're going to want to target this young children, and the parents are going to buy all the toys of all these different new Pokemon and stuff. But
like the people who bought Pokemon Red 25 years ago are still buying Pokemon today, like, you know.
But
so
it's crap. It's crap now.
So people
for
are
us.
growing up with Pokemon.
Yeah.
They're just not growing up with the games.
With us,
I feel really bad for all of us because we're like, the people who like think Sonic is a good game.
Hey,
all those
Sonic.
people out there who are Sonic fans and
Yeah.
they're really like, no, it's great, just give it a chance. And man, your
Sonic
mind
1
has
through
been
3
warped.
was amazing.
Yeah, everything after that was.
But I feel that way now with Pokemon, is that like I play the game, I get through it, and then I'm like, I can't believe I put 50 hours into that.
So I guess the last one I played was Sword and Shield. I think I had Shield. Can't remember which one I bought. I don't think it really matters. They're essentially the same game. But I bought that one, and I've never played a game in my adult life that I felt like I was being handheld so much. I could get there was no difficulty, and like catching the Pokemon just seemed to be easier. I'll never forget.
And
like,
even Pokemon you don't use just level up all the time.
Yeah. It's this whole thing, and I get it. Like, I mean, part of me is like, as an adult in a working life, I appreciate the fact that this is all a bit easier. But I like the challenge. Like, I'll never ever forget. Like, one of my first playthroughs of Pokemon Red, my favorite Pokemon game, by a long shot. I remember not knowing that there was a Mewtwo in this cave, and that you get one Master Ball. This is before we figured out the cheats and everything like that. So there's one Master Ball, and I used to catch a fucking Kadabra or something stupid like that. I was like,
that's a good choice because Kadabra or Abra, one of them, they always just teleport
right away.
Instantly.
Yeah. That was mine. I was like,
that was a good use of your
but then
Master Ball.
then I spent hours. I mean hours trying to catch this. Came across this Mewtwo, like. Pure fluke. You know that you're going through the tunnels, you're dropping rocks down these holes, you're following down. I had no idea where I was going, no guides, no internet. I'm fucking like 9 or 10 years old. I came across this Mewtwo and I was like, oh my god, like from the movie, this is amazing. I'll fight him and I'll beat him. And I had this ultimate team, and I had to like sand attack the shit out of him with my last Pokemon and throw a million Great Balls at him until I actually caught him.
That's a much better experience,
though. But I mean, but the game, the
fact that the game takes it away.
Yeah, it didn't hold my hand at all. All through that game, I had to figure. Now it's a very easy game to complete now because we have the internet and you can get walkthroughs for everything. But as a kid going through that and realizing I had to have flash to use in the tunnel, like it was all that bit more challenging. And even now, if I picked up Pokemon Red and Pokemon Shield, I guarantee you I would have a better time playing Pokemon Red. From a purely challenge perspective, I think that game's going to be trickier than...
Yeah, because they didn't have the thing that like levels up your other Pokemon, so you actually had to physically switch them out and stuff like that. There was no like experience share, I think it's called.
A bit of a grind. And not like... I never thought, even now playing the game, I don't think I'd ever think it's a painful grind in Pokemon Red. Like, maybe it is, but it's just this thing that seemed to me a bit more of a fun... involved game for me to play now, because I played through Shield and I was like, I think I'm done.
It was brutal. It was like, for the exact same reason you said. It was just the hand holding and the cutscene, and then you're just like, oh, you got to go over there, and you like walk one street over, stops, goes to another cutscene. I mean, there's multiple times I just had to turn it off. I was like, I don't have time for this shit. I want to play a game right now.
I want to play a video game. I don't want to play a hold a hand book.
But even in Pokemon Red, it like felt more adults orientated than even the games that are now. Like now, there you had Team Rocket, which were proper villains, like using gambling casinos, kidnapping Pokemon. Like your man Giovanni was trying to take over the world.
He was a mafia boss.
He was a genuine mafia boss. Whereas now, Team Star, I think they're called in this game, they're just a bunch of punk kids who like were bullied and are now bullying other kids. But
so you
aren't bad.
You're trying to get us to level with them as well. It's like, I don't need that. Just give me criminals. Just give me cold-hearted murdering criminals.
I want to be part of a plot where I'm the hero, with this drug den or just these galactic villains, doing some crazy stuff. Like Ruby and Sapphire had like guys trying to like make the world explode essentially, like by flooding it with all water or by creating volcanoes.
Team Aqua, I think
something like that. Yeah. But they were literally trying to take over the world.
Villains. I think since Sword and Shield, and I think Sword and Shield was one for me where I was like, I realized that I definitely took a dip in that, like, oh, we're just marketing this purely for children now. It's purely for children, and I can respect that because I think Pokemon is one of the most affluent or profitable companies or brands out there.
Of all
full
time.
Stop. Yeah. So what they're doing works, but it's just sad from my perspective because, I remember being in the schoolyard, really young with my Pokemon trading cards, the original 150, trying to get all those Pokemon trading cards, and how involved I was in it, and seeing myself grow up and the game never grow up with me. I've got all these ideas, like, because it might have hit it a little bit with Legend Arceus, however you pronounce it, and then with these Scarlet and Violet, they have the beginnings of what could be this open world side quest and go out on your mission, maybe a bit more of an adult themed Pokemon game. And I'm like, just take 3 years. Take 3 years and make the game. Yeah. Don't drop me a handholdy video game every year. Like, this got potential. So what I'll do is I have a list here kind of where the games are ranked. See if you kind of agree or disagree. We're going to kind of go through the genres now. Chris, you'll be disappointed because
I know.
Snap and Go are not included in this. You're too
For
big.
obvious reasons.
I wouldn't even consider Go a favorite, even though it's probably my most played.
I wouldn't consider Pokemon Snap a Pokemon game, but yeah.
There's Pokemon and that's close enough, So I got this article from Nintendo Life, written by a guy called Gavin Lane. Shout out to you, Gavin. And he's kind of rated all the kind of Pokemon games from the consoles, with the exception of Snap, actually, which isn't there at all. But I think he's picking the games that follow the same theme, like your 6 Pokemon. You go and you battle, you be the best, catch them all. And he's kind of rated them. I'm going to go through the list and see if there's anything that you guys like really kind of strongly agree or disagree with. Mm-hmm. So starting from the bottom of the table.
The worst ones?
The worst ones,
okay.
yeah.
Can we guess?
He's got the worst one on his list is Scarlet and Violet.
Nice.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe it either. I think Sword and Shield are way worse. Especially the disappointment of the transition from 3DS to Switch. Mm-hmm. Like, that was where they had a chance to do something different, and they just didn't take it. Yeah. So that's where, like, they had every opportunity to make a great game, to reset, to stop the whole 4-move thing, and they copped out. Like, you wouldn't even... Like, the leap from Gold and Silver to Ruby and Sapphire is a bigger leap than the 3DS game to the Switch game. Like, you wouldn't even notice it was a jump from 3DS to Switch. The hardware change is barely noticeable, like, you know?
And do you think that's because they're rushing to get a game out almost annually? Or do you think it's just that they're just not interested in making kind of the...
No, I don't think that they, as a company, are capable of making a good game. Like, no, I mean, this is... Whether they made this game called Town a couple of years ago, and it was an absolute disaster. Like, terrible. Game Freak. Okay, Game Freak made a game called Town. It was a disaster. Bar that, they haven't made their own game since, like, the 80s. So they have 2 absolute successes with Red and Blue and Gold and Silver. And then it's just a downhill stab.
But, I mean, a downhill stab from our perspective, but they're obviously doing it right.
From the perspective of what a good game is.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I mean, for kids, they're essentially printing money. Like,
and yet,
you know?
But we're still showing Pikachu and all the anime, you know. So I mean, you say that, but they
that was gold
refuse to go away from Pikachu and Ash Ketchum, like, you know.
Okay, so Scarlet and Violet was ranked the worst. You guys think there's worse ones than that, Sword and Shield? Okay, so after that, we've got Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which was the remake, I think, that was brought out on the Switch as well, wasn't it? With the remade graphics of
So I didn't play that one, and even like the video, like they actually subletted that out to a different company. I think it was the guys who did Luigi's Mansion. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, they basically just copied the original game, like, completely. They even like reduced the character models to look more like a Game Boy, so it's just a copy and paste job.
Right. Okay. So I can see why they got second from the bottom. That's fair. Interesting. Luke, Luke can be on this episode today, but Luke would very much strongly disagree with this one, because the next one up is Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
I'm delighted that that's down the list. It really, like, and I know it was heartfelt, but I'm like, this is the 3rd time they've remade that game. And like, you can't even catch them with Pokemon. I'm like, if you don't have those elements, then it's not even a fucking Pokemon game. Like, get out of here. You know?
Okay, so we're kind of saying, okay, so next up then is your Sword and Shield. So you would actually change, let's say, Sword and Shield with Scarlet and Violet. Would you feel that Scarlet and Violet is a little bit higher up the list than that, or?
Yeah, because at least they tried to do a couple of new things in Scarlet and Violet. Although all of them are done badly, they did still do a few things. You know?
Okay, and if there's any one that you guys haven't played, just say so and we'll move on, because I think I'm the least experienced Pokemon player.
There's a few generations I just didn't play.
So after that, we've got Ultra Sun and Moon.
Yeah, I never played the Sun.
Yeah, they tried to get rid of gyms in that one, and they introduced a kind of like different mechanic where like you'd have to do a kind of test but still battle different type of Pokemon. It was okay, and they actually brought Red and Blue into that game as a kind of optional boss, which I quite liked. But as a game, it's still lacking. You know?
So what beat Ultra Sun and Moon was Sun and Moon, the original. So Ultra Sun and Moon was the...
Oh, sorry, you did the expansions or whatever. No, I didn't actually play those ones.
So Sun and Moon, that's in kind of whatever 16th place, Sun and Moon, and you're saying they tried something different. After that, we got Diamond and Pearl. You guys play either of those? The original?
That generation.
So Diamond and Pearl is considered pretty weak, but I think that's mainly because like it had done the leap to the DS, and there's actual load time. Like, the first 3 games are real spiffy, really, really fast. Like, you get into a battle, it's over in 5 seconds, and then you're running away. Yeah. Whereas in Diamond and Pearl, it's probably about 10 seconds. You know, like, it's about double the time, and that really, after 100 fights, it really shows.
Yeah, and that's an absolute nightmare with any game with random battles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that you have to wait for this thing that you didn't want to.
So those random
start.
battles were just way more annoying. But the Pokemon introduced like Electivire and Magmortar. I was dying for them to get like
that was
evolutions.
Cool.
And Gliscor, I was just like, man, they really gave a lot of new Pokemon for the original 150, and I thought that was a really nice touch.
Which one was because we often talked as a group of mates years ago who would be your spirit Pokemon, and some people got some pretty cool ones. I did not. I was voted a Farfetch'd. But what's interesting about Farfetch'd, speaking of...
Wait, people voted for your Pokemon,
people said,
or you just picked your favorite?
No. I would like look at, let's say, our good friend Andy, and I would say, you're kind of a Growlithe, and Andy was like, well, can I not be Arcanine? And I was like, you're nowhere near cool enough to be Arcanine. You're a Growlithe at best, take it, When people would say, oh, Darren, you did a cooking course in college, here's a Pokemon with a leak. And that's how I got Farfetch'd. But I hated it, but as the TV show went on, one of Ash's main Pokemon was a Farfetch'd who evolved into a Sirfetch'd.
Sirfetch'd is pretty dope.
Yeah, so although I'm not
pretty cool.
Yeah, although I'm not a Sirfetch'd, I could become a Sirfetch'd.
Could. You have the
I have the potential to be.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So I'll take that. But yes, I think kind of it's nice to see the old. That's what I mean. The 151 Pokemon. Us seeing more stuff to do with them gets us hyped because they were the best.
And I like some of the new variations. Like I'm a big fan of the Meowth. The new Meowth that evolves into like a Berserker, which is like a Viking cat.
So was Meowth Persian? Was that the evolution of Meowth?
Yeah.
And then that evolves into a what?
No. So it's just a new version of Meowth that evolves into not Persian at all, but a Pokemon called Berserker,
which is just
steel
a
type.
Meowth with a big beard. Like.
It's amazing.
Look quite
it
fun,
looks
like,
crazy.
And that's what I mean. It's like they must know that the original stuff is their best shit. Like, and they're still tweaking on these old models. So yeah, they must know. Okay, so we got Diamond and Pearl, and then 14th, we have X and Y, which I played a little bit of in the 3DS. I think I bought one of them, and I got the other one for Lauren back in the day, and I played them, and I think it still holds some character of the older style Pokemon games, but again, just nonsense Pokemon in it.
I played the shit out of that game because I got super into breeding and obsessed with like making perfect Pokemon. So that might actually be my most played game.
Yeah. But the breeding stuff like has been in it since Gold and Silver. Like
but it got a lot better in this generation with I don't know. This is when I found out about like Flame Body and like IVs and stuff like that. So I went pretty deep into it.
So what are just for our listeners, because I have no idea. Flame Bodies.
Flame Body is if you have a Pokemon in your team that has this like ability, it'll lessen the time it takes to hatch an egg.
Okay. By half.
So
when you're just constantly creating, new Pokemon and get the right stats and things like that, having that ability is essential. Right. There's a lot of that type of stuff throughout the later games if you really get into the nitty and gritty of it, but it all takes so long to do. So very.
And that's the thing as well. Like today, we wouldn't be able to.
But I did end up with a perfect Gengar and a perfect Arcanine though. So
two great Pokemon.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but I mean, Gengar is Ghost Poison. And Poison is weak to Psychic. And Ghost was, in the original game, the only way to defeat Mewtwo was a Ghost type. It was the only weakness to a Psychic type Pokemon.
Yeah.
Bug, there was no good Bug moves, and there was no good Bug Pokemon. There's Scyther, but he has no good Bug moves. I think Pin Missile was a Bug move, and that's it.
Listen, bud, I was just going for style points. I don't care about this optimization.
But you would the only Ghost Pokemon from the original game being a multi-type with the weakness to what he's supposed to be good against. I'm like, what a fucking shit.
But that's what I mean, the challenge in that, Craig. They didn't spoon feed or shit. They were like, hey, if you want to get...
I know, but they were very, very dumb with how they like organized the Pokemon with the typings and stuff like that. Like, I think every single Pokemon in the whole game, bar Tangela, not the whole game, but every single grass Pokemon is also part poison. Like, why? Why did they do that? It was just like a typo someone had, and they just left it into every game. Some code,
some accidental, and all.
Like, there's just so many things that don't make sense that they've just never fixed.
So after that, then we've got and this is where Ruby and Sapphire comes in after X and Y, and And I didn't play Ruby and Sapphire. I played the Omega Ruby and Sapphire one. But
No?
you guys play Ruby and Sapphire?
Yep, I loved it.
I really enjoyed that one. Yeah.
So are you surprised it only makes it into 13th place?
No, actually, for some reason, it's always kind of got trashed on by reviewers, and like IGN is specifically famous for this because it was just like one of the big cons was too much water. And it's just like you can look it up, but like it's been wrongfully trashed for years.
I mean, there is a lot of water in it, but I mean, like, there's a lot of water Pokemon, and like, it has the unfortunate task of picking up after Silver, and then, like I said, not giving us the regions that we had in the previous games. So it's always going to leave a sour taste.
Which we came to expect.
They also introduced berries, which was my least favorite addition for years and years, because in order to get more berries, you had to run around to find these very specific spots where you could grow
and wait for them to grow,
and then wait the next day and then run all the way back there. And you could never have these berries beside your house. They're always like mid-route somewhere in the random, you know, out in the wild.
Okay, so here's one that I mean, this is where I would strongly disagree with the list, but after we have Ruby and Sapphire, in 12th place is Red and Blue. 12th.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I assume that Fire Red and Leaf Green are going to be much higher, which I think actually might be deserving. I do like that graphic update, even though I feel nostalgic for the old ones. But Red and Blue they were a great game. We have fond memories, but they were broken, man. They were very busted games.
They were, but they came like that was a new game that we had never seen before. Yeah. So I mean, we've never had a leap like that since. You know. Yeah. Like they've just copied that formula from Red and Blue with every other game. Yeah. With no exception. There's still 4 moves. There's still the typing. There's still the random battles. It's exactly the same.
And like we're talking,
so to say Red and Blue is the 12th best when it did what the other 11 are still doing now is like, who wrote this? I mean,
we're talking almost. We're almost entering, 30 years later, almost for Pokemon since Red and Blue came out, which is phenomenal to think that in we'll say 25 years that recipe's never changed at all.
No,
let's give each Pokemon. It's like you guys played Scarlet and Violet on the Switch, and I hate to keep it shitting on the new Pokemon games, but they're not going in the right direction. But like the idea of The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild being a game that can be played on the Switch, and you, Craig, you showed me. Now, granted, it's on your TV, so probably doesn't help the things. But you showed me.
It would help the things if you put it side by side with Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild on that TV looks fucking amazing.
But that's so okay. So then, then the TV thing is no excuse, because you showed me Violet, Scarlet, whatever one you're playing right now on the TV, and you were like running around the place, and I was like, oh my god,
janky people walking at like 12
frames per second. This is a finished, complete, fully varnished. Well, I know it wasn't fully varnished. It had loads of problems at the beginning, but I was like, how can you, when something like Breath of the Wild exists on that hardware, it's unforgivable that you can produce something like Violet and Scarlet that just looks so awful. I think awful's fair. I think awful is fair.
Like, if you play, to its credit, if you play Zelda, you're fighting Bokoblin, like that one type of monster, 500 times. There's maybe 10 to 20 enemies in Zelda if you really dig into it. There's actually not a big variety. Whereas in this game, there's 400. So, I mean, it is harder to get all of those 400 walking around and interacting and, like, doing things. But they cheap out so much in Pokemon that, like, these Pokemon have very, very basic movements and then don't embellish on that at all. Like, one of the newest, coolest Pokemon I thought was Armarouge and Ceruledge. And, like, Chris here got Ceruledge, so I was devastated. But I was like, okay, but Armarouge has this deadly cannon on his shoulder. So I'm like, that's awesome. He has a cannon. And I was like, well, at least now I'm going to go into a battle and use a fire attack. He's going to shoot that cannon. Do you think he uses the cannon?
No.
It's purely cosmetic. He stands there, touches his chest, and the fireball comes out of his chest like every other move he does. And I'm just like I die a little inside when I see that.
Because I know it's not, Game Freak isn't like a huge AAA massive studio. I get that. But take the time. Take the time. I don't need a Pokemon game every year, every other year. Take the time. Just and polish it.
They need the money.
They don't. Do they? They're the most successful brand in like modern history.
I compared it to the guys at Rockstar because I thought Grand Theft Auto 1 and Pokemon, the first game, they came out around similar times, the late 90s, you know, and Rockstar have continued to push the boundaries to elevate their games, to make something unique. The last one they made was GTA 5, probably 10, 15, 12 years ago or something like that. It was ages ago now, like, you know?
Yeah.
And they are still working on that, making it as good as they can while working on GTA 6 in the background.
Yeah.
Game Freak are just like fucking slapping stickers on
Ship and sell, boys.
and just ship and sell.
No,
and they have billions.
Yeah, yeah.
And they won't put any of that money into the games. Like, it's just
heartbreaking. It is hard for our generation, because I know kids still love the games, but for our generation it's heartbreaking, because I still want to love Pokemon. I really do, hand on heart, still want to love that series, but I can't. The last 3 iterations. I just can't. Last 3 iterations of that game have been so shocking. But we'll go back to this because, again, disappointing that Red and Blue are so far back. But in 11th place ahead of Red and Blue is Yellow, which I can respect that Yellow would have been ahead.
That's bullshit. Yellow was much worse.
You think so?
Well, Yellow was just them trying to
Yeah.
see the anime's success and
Yeah.
just have Ash be the main
But it was
character.
great
You're
because-
stuck with that Pikachu on your team. You couldn't evolve him, and he would like get in the way of like trying to walk out a door, and he was always there.
But Chris, you could turn
So
around
annoying.
and
talk
see
to him.
if he liked you or not.
I like Raichu.
I like that.
I love it. It's like my own personal Tamagotchi.
I
It's
like
great.
Raichu more, and I couldn't even evolve him.
You
So-
could if you traded him, evolved him, and then traded back.
Could you trade him?
Yeah,
Because I remember trying to put him in a box, and that didn't work.
you can. Yeah,
You can't put him in a box.
you can definitely. Put
I
him
think
in
you
a
can
box.
take him off your team, yeah.
He doesn't have to be in your top 6.
Yeah.
But as soon as he's back in your party, he'll be out of his Pokeball. But
Yeah.
you don't have to have him in your top 6 at all times.
I'm fairly certain because I played
Because
a
that
lot
would
of
be
Red.
terrible.
Yeah, I might have to load up my DS or at least Google it, but I'm pretty sure you can.
Well, you could listen to what I'm saying because I'm 100% certain.
It's pretty
okay.
good. Well, we can. No, I don't have the time to Google that right now.
Yeah.
I'm running a podcast here, gentlemen. I have no time to fact check. There we go. Hey, if you guys know if Craig's or Chris are bullshitting, email us at thegiftofgamepodcast@gmail.com and tell us who's right. That'd be great. That's all we have right now, an email address. No website, no nothing, no social media. Just hit us up on the email because that's all I've got. That's all I've had time for, okay? All right, so Yellow. Yeah, I loved Yellow. I thought it was, for me, a step up. I loved the animation. Some of the animations of
They
the
changed the
character art.
models of the
Yes.
characters
Yeah.
because from the front you got to see updated sprites and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, I mean,
It's kind of like the
Pretty
first
cool.
step to your, was it Fire Red and Leaf Green? It's kind of like your first step into, updating all that kind of stuff. And it was the best, following off from Red and Blue, which I still think is the best recipe for the game.
and we all just loved the anime at that time. So it was great to see. And like your favorite Pokemon, Sandshrew, like even AJ was he was a youngster. And like
Yeah.
he had a Sandshrew and he was like, all right, I'm on 99 victories, one more, and I've made 100. And that was directly from a TV episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like they had a lot of little references to the show if you like paid attention. And I was like, these are nice touches.
Yeah, that's all I want. And that's what I mean. Just that little bit of extra effort. But no, they're ship and sell. We don't have time to put in a text box that relates to anything people would care about. Oh, damn it, Game Freak. All right, so after Yellow, we've got Omega, Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. Played them.
Yeah, I didn't play those ones. Sorry.
I like them. Like, it's just kind of, I guess, updated Ruby
Yeah,
and Sapphire.
I don't think I played any of the updated ones except for Fire Red.
But again,
Leaf Green.
it's kind of that sprite stuff that they updated the graphics, but I think I preferred the original because it was that update of the sprite where it's almost too cute, if that makes sense. It's the way the kind of the Final Fantasy games went when they remade them for the DS and stuff like that, where they made the sprites kind of just too cutesy for me to kind of get behind. And
It's probably similar to the reason why I still dislike Crisis Core and like the fact that they've updated it. Whereas that Pokemon game is very, very dated now, and I'd say, especially in Omega, Ruby, and Sapphire, like the HM stuff must be absolutely annoying as hell because by then they had started to get rid of that, push it back, but because it's an exact remake of Ruby and Sapphire, they have to have all that stuff.
So what's that?
You said there's so much water. You're using Surf, Waterfall,
all the time.
Dive. Like
You
just
have to have a
crap
Bidoof on your
moves in your
team.
team.
Yeah. All right, so we're running the rest of the list pretty quick to like maybe the top 5. After that, we had Fire. Oh, so Fire Red and Leaf Green only made 9th. Chris in this list.
That's fair.
Okay.
Then we had Black and White coming in on 8th. Crystal, which I never played, in 7th. And then in 6th is Gold and Silver.
Well, for me,
That would have been my top.
For me, it's number 1.
Yeah.
It's
I'm surprised. So ahead of this is Legends Arceus. That got up a spot ahead of it. Don't ask me.
Some people like it because it did something different. But I mean, you said you didn't like how the newest game looked. Arceus looks even worse than the new game. Like,
because I know they tried to go for a certain art style, but again, it's that thing where I'm like, oh, you guys just need to take your time. Take your time.
But they just seem to do a random map generator and press start. Like, everything looks bad. You know, the bushes don't look the right color. The water is off. Like, everything just looks bland.
They did. I remember when that game first came out, I was looking at, I think I was just scrolling through a magazine and waiting for a plane in the airport or whatever, scrolling through like a game magazine, and someone had the article they had copied, or they'd taken a screenshot of a bit of scenery from Legends Arceus, and then a bit of scenery from, and it's horrible that everything gets compared to Breath of the Wild, but it kind of set the gold standard.
But that was the first game on the Switch.
Yes, and it set a standard.
The very first game.
But it is insane how the foliage in a game that was made 5 years later, 4 or 5 years after Breath of the Wild. How long? That's what? 5
That
years
was 2017. Yeah, March 2017.
So you're talking like four years after Breath of the Wild, 4 years worth of like being able to understand this hardware and build on it, and the picture difference between just the foliage in these two games, I was like, mother of God, they are just, again, this kind of downward trend. So that got 6th. Black and White got, that got 5th. Black and White got 4th. Emerald in
Black and White 1 or 2, because you've already mentioned one of them.
Black and White was the all the way up here.
So this is Black and White 2.
This is Black and White 2. Sorry, yeah.
Which was a very good game, I thought. Like, because that was one of the ones. I guess technically it's one of those like a Pokemon Yellow or Emerald. So it was weird that I played that one because they marketed correctly by having White 2 and Black 2. So I was like, oh, new stuff.
Yeah, I'll take that.
But in that one, you could like even create your own like little town area. This like kind of walkway that had shops and things like that.
Create
like,
your own.
You could like put up like a hair salon. You could put up various training shops and different stuff to have people walking through. And when you went online, people could actually visit. So it pushed the envelope again in a new direction, but by the very next game they just wiped all that clear.
That's what I mean. It's so
like it introduced some cool stuff and then never again. You're like,
the board just strikes me as a bunch of guys sitting around the table being like, does this game have enough Pikachu in it? No, we'll get more Pikachu. Take the rest of the shit out. You know, it's crazy that they would. I mean, like you said, that online stuff. And I'm a sucker for this kind of create your own stuff, kind of bit of a customization to it, especially that kind of like town city vibe, like that kind of simulator type stuff that I love. I can't believe they took that out of the game. You know, the next game, you know, the next iteration was gone. After that, in third place, taking the bronze, was Emerald, which I think
at least it's gold and silver, but
no, Emerald is Ruby and Sapphire.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What am I thinking of? Crystal, is it?
Yeah, Crystal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which you'll be pleased takes. Oh wait, no, Crystal was back in 7th.
I did play Emerald though. That was one with Rayquaza as the main, who looked like Slifer the Sky Dragon. So I kind of like.
You were like, this guy's
all
cool.
over that. But in that, the post game content was pretty good. Like you go to like these battle towers and fight all the extra Pokemon and get PP ups and EV and IV train your. So that was the first time they introduced that. So Emerald was a really good game. So I kind of agree with that, just based on how much content you got past the game. You know, when it was over.
Yeah. Okay, so end-game stuff is what we're looking, what we enjoy.
Well, that's what I assume he's based that
but
decision
yeah,
on. Because otherwise,
so
there's no reason to do that.
People should, if you're interested in what we're talking about here, read the article. He doesn't go into a huge amount of depth with each game, but it does give you a decent oversight as to why they are where they are. I didn't agree with why Red and Blue was so far back. I still think that is the absolute. I'm not going to say gold standard for Pokemon, but I think it's just its character, it's the original, and it's still so much stuff is based off that I can't believe that didn't even make it into the top 10 of this list.
That's crazy.
Number 2, how do you guys play Platinum? Pokemon Platinum. I didn't even know there was a Pokemon Platinum.
That was that
Like
whole
Giratina?
generation. No, that was the whole
Pokemon?
generation with. But Brilliant Diamond Diamond and Pearl. So Platinum was there with it.
Oh, okay. So that was their kind of their third iteration. The number 1, and this is kind of, I can take this one back. There's a bit more self-respect here. Is the Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So obviously the improvement on.
Version.
Okay.
So we can say Gold and Silver. Took the number 1 spot.
Why would he think the remake has better? Like, why would he credit this game?
Read the article.
Gold and Silver
if anyone's
like,
interested,
how
have
could
a little read.
What an idiot.
So that's the kind of, and like I said, that's looking through that list. It's interesting because there's a lot of stuff that I would disagree with there. But again, I would not call myself a Pokemon super fan.
Yeah.
Pokemon Master?
No, definitely not. You know, Jesus, I don't want to be a Pokemon master in the worlds they've created today, Chris.
I just want to take their pictures. I don't even want to catch them.
just give me a new snap every year.
Yeah.
But no, like the reason why I loved Silver was because it introduced so many new things, right? Like you had the time mechanics. You could have
night and day.
You could ring up people you'd beaten before, and they would get stronger. And then you could rematch them when they would have like sometimes newer Pokemon or stronger levels.
Yeah, that was cool.
So much stuff was
I
lost.
hated the legendaries though.
Yeah, I liked Lugia, but Ho-Ho was just Moltres again. I'm like, I already did this.
Yeah. And I wasn't a big fan of Lugia. He was like God of the Sea, but he was flying psychic.
He was the beginning
had these big weird
hand
the
wings.
art style, the art style of those kind of. But again, legendary Pokemon, I think after, because the 3 legendary from your original Red and Blue, to me were kind of the nicest looking ones in terms of art style.
Oh,
I think
Mewtwo is the absolute best.
Well, Zapdos and Articuno, and Mewtwo is just flawless. It just looks like an alien.
They look,
when you think of an alien, sometimes Mewtwo's just face pops into your mind.
But the legendary ones after that, I think the art style kind of got a bit wackier and wackier. I could understand what they were doing to try and make them look so different because they're meant to be the legendary ones. But for me, I was like, nah, I was like, no, there's nothing for me.
I mean, I'd watched that Pokemon, the second movie, and it was Lugia coming down to like calm down Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno. So I was very much like a Lugia fan by the time Gold and Silver came out. So he's a little close to my heart that way, because I enjoyed that movie. It was terrible, but at the time, as a kid, I loved it.
Because I remember being like nerding out big time. I think I was watching one of the original Pokemon films with Mewtwo in it, and I think
Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Maybe, yeah. And
that's what it's called.
And does Mewtwo fly down and he's breaking all like the sound barriers? I can't remember years ago, but I remember going to see that movie.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I went in the metal suit in that one.
I can't remember, but all I know is I nerded out hard. Like modern day me would absolutely make that young Darren cry in terms of bullying him because I was such a nerd. I remember my godmother bringing me to see that. And him flying down and breaking all these sound barriers, and I was sitting beside my godmother being like, that's him breaking the sound barrier. That's him breaking the light barrier. He's the coolest. And I was like, God damn it, Darren, you were such a nerd.
You're probably getting excited by Mewtwo and Mew bouncing off each other over and over again. Just like the Matrix final fight.
My 11, 12-year-old brain just getting like that overstimulation of colours and sounds, being like, I'm so into this.
And feelings too. I think that was Ash's first death in that movie.
Has he died multiple times?
Yeah, he's died like 12 times.
Pikachu is essentially his own personal, what do you call them? CPR things?
Resuscitator?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Pikachu is essentially his own private resuscitator.
Yeah, I'm sure that happens a lot. Yeah. That's just a joke they're going to milk every time. Yeah, of course.
So we've gotten through the list there. There's it's a decent list, but I kind of want to talk now before we kind of like finish up the episode or whatever. Individually, Chris and Craig, what would you like to see from a Pokemon game? So a Pokemon game, they're not going to do anything next year or the year after. They're going to sit down and make a Pokemon game. They're going to spend 3 years on it, going to put the time into it. What does that Pokemon game look like to you, Chris?
Okay, so I would like to see a bit more of this open world idea developed, maybe even as far as MMO, where you can actually challenge people and become the Pokemon master. But I think another very important thing that they need to implement is the same change Final Fantasy eventually made is with the active time battle system, where speed actually matters. So you can like double turn on someone if you're fast enough, right? So all they do is like buff stats of like maybe your Snorlax is super tanky so he can handle a couple hits from the really speedy Pikachu or whatever. But like none of this you go, I go, you go, I go. Yeah. It's almost like rock, paper, scissors.
It's just like that.
That's essentially. Yeah. So open world and a bit more of a competitive kind of game to it.
Yeah.
It's a really good take. I really like that as well. Mine would be a little different in that I would double the amount of moves you can have. So go from 4 to 8, but like heavily reduce the PP for each move. Like say you only get like 1 or 2 per attack. Like a Thunder, you can only use it once and then you're out for that fight. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then increase all Pokemon's health by about 50%. That way it's no longer one hit KO.
So less kind of fights, but when you do have the more intense strategic,
more strategic, because there's so many cool moves in Pokemon that like are so situational you'll never use because you only have 4. You know, and you're just like, man, that looks really cool.
Or they could even introduce like a turn cooldown system. So if you use Thunder, like you kind of like Hyper Beam. Yeah, you could use Thunder and then like tackle, but you couldn't like back to back Thunder. Like that.
Yeah.
Because it would require a charge, just those type of things to implement. But I'm just trying to think of how they could do it fast, just improve from 4 to 8, 50% more health. That's just a writing in the codes that can be done in seconds, Like they don't need to do anything to do that,
Yeah.
They don't have to change the ATB time type of thing, Like that is a great mechanic, but would require a lot of work. And I'm just trying to...
Final Fantasy X did it.
But that's
that combat system.
You're talking about a company
Pokemon
who will actually put the work in.
Done.
Who were taking 3 to 4 years to make remake, and they're doing it in 3 parts. So it's a 10-year project. Do you think Nintendo would take 10 years to do this game?
Yeah, I can't imagine game. But then that's the thing as well. I think for me, and again, I'm at this age now, I'm big into stories with like the strongly narrative driven and things I can get behind. And I think I just like a darker take on Pokemon. Like what those gameplay improvements you guys both talk about there, hugely important. I don't think the game, for me, I don't think I can play a Pokemon game without improvements like that being brought into it. But I want something to play for. Like, I would love this idea, you know, like you faint, your Pokemon faints, and you just bring him to the, if your Pokemon died, that was it, you know, that was it. Cool. And like, you can have more than, but then again, bring in characters that I care about, because that's the sad thing, is that we talked about those older generation Pokemon games that actually carried over some characters from the previous one, so you actually felt like you could connect with, not necessarily connect with these people, but they played a bigger role in the world that you were living in. Whereas all the new ones are just like, here's a whole new, you know,
I don't remember any
faces.
of their names,
no,
any of the names of any of the towns in about 10 years, you know.
Because they are so bland. But like, give me people I care about, give me a story I care about, like that. Like, you talk about a Team Rocket, like a something that's dark and dangerous for me to fight against, as opposed to be like, I'll just go and get all the 8 badges. I know it's a proven system and it works, and the most successful Pokemon games have all revolved around going for the gyms and being the greatest. But aside from just being the best Pokemon trainer, I want some danger. I want some sort of, like, you know, undercurrent of, oh, I have to solve this problem before it gets out of hand, and have it like something that I care about, you know, characters, lives on the lines, Pokemon's lives on the lines, you know. Exactly. Like, you could spend a whole game training this Pokemon, and your last fight you lose him, you know, and he's never coming back.
You're
give me that kind of play
Fire
for
Emblem rules here.
But just to give me something, because I'll never forget, as I grew older, and even in Sword and Shield, there was one day I was like sitting down, you know, at the end of a day, you know, lying back on the couch, barely paying attention to like playing through a battle in Sword and Shield, and I lost, and my character just fainted and went back to the Pokemon Center, and I was like,
got robbed. Yeah,
I was like, there is zero danger in this. There's zero things to play for, zero things to make me worry, and that's the kind of stuff I love to. You kind of
can't lose, and like, even the competitive angle is to use all these moves like baton pass and all these stat buffs, but in the main game there's never a reason to ever use any of that stuff, like, you know,
there's a lot of waste.
It's completely wasted. You know, all you prioritize are moves that have a lot of PP, so you can rinse and repeat without having to go all the way back to the Pokemon Center, like, you know,
get a fighting type and throw a million kicks, you just auto win.
There you go. Game Freak, if you're listening to this very successful and renowned podcast that we started,
get your shit together.
Implement all those things and make a good game. Before we finish, guys, I don't think it'd be right without asking you guys, before we finish up today, your dream team of Pokemon, your 6 that you take with you to be the very best, like no one ever was. Chris, who do you take with you?
My dream team. Okay, this is going to be painful because I didn't include my absolute all-time favorite, which is Sandshrew, but I'll go for the big boys. So, Tyranitar, Aggron, Hydreigon, Haxorus, Volcarona, and Ammonite.
So
not on an Amistar, just a little Ammonite.
Ammonite. Nice. Kudos to anyone who picks up on the theme.
Have you got dinosaurs? They sound like dinosaurs.
I already forgot half of them. Hydrogen was one of them.
That's again the problem I have. I could, like, you have one from the original 151 in that set of 6, right? Yeah. I don't. After that, it gets really vague for me. So interesting. If anybody does know the theme that Chris is talking about, email us at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com and let us know. Chris can tell you if you're right or not. Craig, dream team of Pokemon, who are you taking to take out the Elite Four?
Well, I'm very much the rival character, so like, even when Chris is playing, I'll walk past his room singing the rival music, being like, oh, you want like your 3rd gym? Haha, loser, I've got 8 badges right here. Man, like, I loved walking past saying that type of stuff.
Your house must have been the fucking weirdest place to live during
He's fucking scary.
But like, that's what's fun to me. It's like in Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like everyone wants to be Kaiba, like he's the coolest. But like, my choice reflects that, so I would open with Ambipom, who can use Fade Out followed by U-turn, so he can hit you and then run away, and then he can keep coming out and hitting you and running away.
So you like,
and you always flinch every time. So he's a hit and run kind of guy.
Your number one Pokemon choice is a coward, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's all about he's all about going, yeah, now what are you gonna do? Like, he's just like a dick, you know.
Okay, cool.
So you always flinch, and then he returns, and then I send out my Ditto, which would
another one.
But he has the imposter ability as well as a thing they had a few years ago. I think it was called like a soft sand or something, but it gave him +1 speed. Okay. So that's all Ditto needed to just instantly be better than whoever he's up against. So it's like, whatever you have, he's just a little bit better. So it's like, fuck you. So as soon as they send out the Dragon-type Pokemon, you send out Ditto, who is slightly faster than their best Pokemon, and then he wins, you know? And he did no training.
I admired it so far that your top 2, or the 2 of your 6, it's so strategy-based. It's shitty strategy-based,
it's
you know?
so to fuck people up. Yeah. But after that, I have Tyranitar, because, I mean, as soon as Gold and Silver came around, he was like the first cool dark Pokemon.
Well, that was one of mine.
Okay.
But only because
Godzilla looking motherfucker.
Yes, big eye look great. But he had Sandstream, so he set up this like sand what do you call it? Like a sandstorm type thing.
Environmental effect.
Yeah, which improved his defense. But then I had Gliscor, who was this deadly looking. Like a Gligar, I hated, but as soon as I got one look at Gliscor, I was like, "That's Batman. That's Batman." And like the Pokemon,
That's Pokemon Batman.
Like, and he benefited from Tyranitar's buff, so I always had him in there with his crazy little pincers. After that, I had Metagross, because he's one of those Ubers, the steel type psychic. He looked like the Final Fantasy VIII boss, that mechanical spider who attacked him. He looks just like that. Very awesome. And then I love Dragonite. He's like my original Uber, and like he's a great one to start with because a lot of people will always open with their fire, water, like their starter type Pokemon.
And just for people, listeners who don't know, what exactly is an Uber?
He's
I thought it was a taxi.
He's kind of like the Pokemon who will always be last in the Pokedex before the legendary. Right. Like the rarest one that's not a legendary.
Okay, super.
So Dragonite was that from the main game, and then Venusaur, and I think Scizor. But Venusaur, because of dickhead reasons as well, I use Sleep Powder and then just like annihilate people.
I half expected you to also throw in Licky Tongue just so you could be like,
like that is fun. I would do, like if I was playing you and like I wanted to really just annoy you.
If I was in a Pokemon game and like I came across you two as trainers, Craig, I would fucking hate to play.
Of course you would, but you'd want to beat me, right?
Yeah,
I'd create a rival in you, and that's what it's all about. Like,
so my one isn't strategy based at all, and it's not the big players. Mine is kind of based on art style. I like Pokemon that like the look of in terms of my team, but they're probably okay. So I've got who's my all-time favorite Pokemon, who I would in my original playthrough of Red, I never evolved at a level 99 Charmander.
Oh, that's what I did.
You never evolved him.
No,
I was about to challenge you on that. You were like, oh, your favorite Pokemon is Charmander, but do you still even have him, or is he a Charizard?
No, my first playthrough ever, and I'd seen the art of the Charmander, and I know it's bad for their stats to not,
I did the same thing with Sandshrew.
I was there with a level.
You'll get annihilated. Like your stats are like half of what they should be.
I was a level 99 Charmander that would scratch the fuck out of anybody. Like this basic first area
on that,
move.
like you actually got your moves faster if you didn't evolved them. Yeah. So it was cool in like the Pokemon Stadium games and stuff. If you picked the Charmander, he'd have Flamethrower, whereas if you picked the Charizard, he'd only have like Fire Spin.
Yeah,
so they try to balance it through the moves that they had. So
the Charmander would be my number one. I'm a big fan of whales and water type Pokemon. I kind of thought, what kind of Pokemon would I love to surf on? And it was Whalmer. Whale looking. He just looks.
You can just say whale the words. Come on, just say the updated version.
No, I prefer Whalmer.
None of us believe you that you have all the pre-existing.
Cool. Yeah, he looks way cooler.
Beach ball looking.
Yeah. He's quite cute. And then I never saw these, never really played these Pokemon, but they're in, I think they're in Arceus, Turtwig or Torterra.
He's
kind of like he's like a big turtle with like an island on his back almost.
He's just the Bulbasaur, except not the Bulbasaur.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Was that Pearl and Diamond?
No, I think he was
the one after that, I think. I can't remember. No, I think he was Diamond and Pearl. Actually.
Okay, so that's where I would have gotten him.
He's a cool looking Pokemon.
Of course, because I got to represent and I got to hold my own, and Farfetch'd would be on that team. You know,
Farfetch'd or Surfetch'd?
Surfetch'd.
Don't
tell anybody.
Always be dreaming.
Yeah. Then I had, because I loved him and catching him in Pokemon Red was a big deal for me. Gengar, having a Gengar in Pokemon,
but okay.
Yeah, but he looked cool and he was a ghost, Craig.
Just try beat a Mewtwo with that thing.
Yeah, I know, awful, terrible. And then I'd have because I loved when Pokemon always make their noise. My favorite noise of Pokemon was Scyther, because he'd come in and be like Scyther.
But in the games they never do that though, And that even that's
they couldn't on a Game Boy. That was.
Could you imagine that?
I know, but again, the games have moved to Switch, and when you send out your Pokemon, it still goes.
Yeah, which is just crazy.
So they couldn't record 400 words. They couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it.
That's the level of laziness.
Craig, that's what we don't know, So that'd be my top 6. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining me for our discussion of the evolution of Pokemon and how shit it currently is and how it needs to get a lot better. Game Freak, you better be listening to this. But yeah, for anybody listening, if you have your top 6 Pokemon or you think you know a way to make Pokemon better, hit us up, the Gift of Gaming podcast@gmail.com. And I swear at some point we'll have a website and some other social media that you can actually hit us up on quicker as opposed to the formal way of email. I'm old-fashioned.
We don't want the hate mail either.
Yeah. I will junk that shit straight off the bat.
Give me all the smoke.
Yeah. But guys, thanks a million for Happy New Year's to you both. Thank you very much for popping on the show.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Happy New Year. My pleasure. And Happy New Year to all our listeners. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace out.
Peace out.
Gotta catch them all.